Yeah, and then we got well, just it's a Nintendo patent story, so
So
make of it what you
grain of
will.
salt.
But a little Game Boy skin case over your touchscreen devices, which is interesting because my current phone skin is exactly that.
Get fooled.
And well, this actually is a working thing too. It's like a real game. Like I can play Tetris on this.
Oh,
shit.
okay, all right.
Like it actually does its thing. But yeah, it looks like they're making a thing to put over your smartphone, and
so that you can actually play goddamn video games on it.
And in theory, the buttons on the opposite side will work functionally, and then then they'll have games that they can sell.
Honestly, if any company has a shot at making this kind of controller thing, it's Nintendo.
So this is to play games over your phone instead of playing your phone's games.
So what I imagine this would be is exactly they sell. If they want to, they could port a bunch of Game Boy Classic games to phone, and then have them have a Game Boy layout on your phone screen, but then make it so that this overlay, this case, has tactile feedback that lets you.
I'm gonna say a thing.
Hit those touch buttons.
Is there any Game Boy game you'd want to play aside from Link's Awakening or Tetris?
No.
Me?
Anybody?
Game Boy?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd play Metroid 2.
It has a much better remake now.
I'd play.
I want to play the old bad one.
Yeah, well, okay, but I mean, what's the question? Is there better versions, or is there things that have never gone anywhere else?
GBA
But I'll play Tetris Attack for Game Boy.
like
I'm gonna use my super powered $800 smartphone
I'd rather
to play
than
fucking
make
Game Boy
brand
games.
new games that kind of have a Game Boy aesthetic.
So I'll be real.
I'll play Power Quest.
I completely
You
forgot
know that.
Power Quest.
All right,
Oh fuck! Here we go.
Street Fighter Alpha 1, the bad one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Game
No,
Boy...
Power Quest is good though.
Okay. I'm sure there's one or two I don't know.
That terrible ass Fist of the North Star game that everyone had on launch.
Raging Fighter, the only Game Boy exclusive fighting game I could think of.
God, Pinball, Pokemon Pinball.
Was that GB?
Was it GB? I think
Game Boy Color would be out.
I'm pretty sure Pokemon Pinball was Game Boy Color.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Wario Land. Yeah, man, there's stuff.
Yeah.
It's a Game Boy. There's a million games on that thing.
No, there aren't.
There's a million good games on that thing.
Okay. There are a million games on that thing.
Ghost Baby.
There are not.
Game Boy Color, motherfucker.
Well, yeah, I was including color.
About
No,
original
we're
Game Boy.
talking
I'm not
about the
Game Boy
fucking
Color.
Game Boy.
All right, here
Game
we
Boy
go.
Color had it was different
All right.
hardware.
That's
It
a
could
new
push
system.
shit.
It was fine.
I will admit there are a million games on the Game Boy, but when you say there are a million good games on the Game Boy, I go, nuh-uh. Nuh-uh, there is not.
That's the GBA to me in my mind.
The GBA is
the Game Boy Color.
yes, absolutely. But like, if we're gonna fucking roll with it, then we're rolling with it. Tetris, Mario Land, Pokemon, Link's Awakening.
Wow, I'm
Kirby.
seeing a shit zillion Pokemon on there.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong.
Oh, yeah,
Sonic Advance, Mario
fucking
Kart.
Sonic Advance, huh?
No, that's
Yeah,
advanced.
good one.
Why is this going into advanced stuff?
Because
Because
the
there's
Game
nothing
Boy
to
is
put on the Game
piece
Boy.
of shit.
You're crazy.
Yeah, am I?
Dude, Link's Awakening and Tetris, maybe the first Mario Land. But it's
Metroid
like,
2 is good.
No one's gonna argue that the GBA is godlike, one of the greatest systems of all time, but there's stuff worth playing.
Oh, yeah, that fucking Game Boy version of Donkey Kong. Hell yeah.
Wario Land is the shit.
Look at
lot of silence.
Look at this classic fucking list you're looking at.
This is
for the Game Boy. Game Boy only.
Yeah, this is
Wow, what a fucking star-studded group of mega classics.
Mario, Pokemon, and Kirby and Zelda. Yeah, they are.
So
It's the N64 of handhelds.
the lineup of Smash Brothers 1. Yeah.
but
DuckTales.
But like Link's Awakening is so good and one of the best Zelda games.
Dr.
that
fucking Mario.
It's required playing, but you can play a better version of it elsewhere.
Oh, holy shit, look, Kix is there.
Okay. Don't talk shit about Kicks.
I will talk shit.
Don't talk shit about
That's
Kicks.
just Snake.
Kicks is fine.
Plus, you could probably play better versions of it.
Don't talk shit about Kicks. Yeah.
Millions of good games on it. Look at
Golf.
There's tons of stuff. There's tons of stuff I'd be
on
willing
that
to play.
monochrome TI-83 screen.
Donkey Kong Land.
Oh,
yeah.
It's bad.
It wasn't country.
Look,
it wasn't country.
Oh yeah, so amazing. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters Battle. Oh no, wait, that's a Game Boy Color game.
Man,
All right, yeah, let's look at this game.
I would definitely
Dr. Mario.
Dr.
Okay.
Mario, R-Type DX, more than okay. Mario's.
Yep.
I never liked Mario's Picross. I'm not a fan of that. Pokemon fucking pinball.
That
Get
looks
in.
like Game Boy Color to
Get
me.
in. You can play in black and white. It's fine. There's the color versions, the cartridges where they have the color that supports the ship, but you can play the old class. You don't have to, so it totally counts. Gargoyle's Quest, Mega Man 5, Bionic Commando Elite Forces. Yes, the fucking game that Bionic Commando Elite Forces not only has a sniper mode in it, but it has a fucking a control mode where you can use it as a TV remote. You can turn your Game Boy into a goddamn TV remote because it has a mode that lets you change channels and volume and shit.
Fucking wow!
Right? Ghost Babel.
What a great game that TV remote is.
Ghost Babel probably not on this list, but I'm
Mario?
throwing Ghost Babel in there.
You are
cannot.
a fucking liar.
That is
a
a
Game
different
Boy
system.
Advance game.
No, it's Game Boy Color.
Whatever, that's a different
But
system.
it's a different
too.
system. It pushes games that the regular Game Boy can't do.
Super Mario Land.
That I'll give you that.
Castlevania 2.
Oh yeah! Wow, Castlevania 2.
Pokemon Gen 2.
They've been updated. They've
Woolie,
been remade.
You get to say the word Pokemon once.
Mario Deluxe.
You get to say the word Mario once.
Wario Land 3.
You get to say the word
Sure,
Wario
Wario
once.
Land 3. I
Final
guess.
Fantasy Adventure.
That game sucks.
Metroid 2.
Again.
I don't know about
Oracle of Ages and Seasons.
That is
Okay.
a Game Boy
Is
Color
that a Game
game.
Boy Color game? Off Overlook GBC specific duo Seasons and Ages comes pretty close.
That is not a Game Boy game.
You
Any-
can't include those.
That's you're so fucking full of shit.
Okay, Mario Land 2 is good, and it's way better than Mario Land 1. That is good.
It is
That
good.
good.
I just say Mario once. I said Mario once. It was Mario.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
Anything that has color on this screen, you scroll past.
Yeah, all right.
That doesn't count!
Look
Look at all these classic Game Boy Color games.
You're acting like a bunch of good games wasn't already just listed, though. Said a bunch of good shit. Classic Donkey Kong, why the fuck not?
That is not classic Donkey Kong. That is a totally different
Well,
thing.
not that. That's fucking Tetris. Yeah, you're telling me that those are games you would not want to play?
I'd love to play all the Game Boy Color versions of that
Dude,
shit.
that's like 3 or 4 actual Game Boy games. What I'm saying is this for the Nintendo patent. If they made brand new, like little micro games that try to take the charm of the Game Boy, and it does have a certain charm, I'd be down for that. But there's only so much you can port where someone would go, why would I play this awful version of Pokemon?
Honestly,
when
you know
it's
what?
been
You know what? I got
remade?
confused when I saw the diagram Woolie posted. I thought
Fucking
what it was going to be was a front.
X.
I thought it was going to be a cover for the front of your phone.
X
to turn
rules.
it, to turn it into a
this?
Game Boy machine.
X is the game. What game with some of the best fucking music ever for the original Game Boy? It's just called X. The song was so fucking good that it made it into Smash Brothers Brawl. I believe
Released
it was.
in
Japan
on
only.
It was
1992.
super good.
Yeah. When did you play that on your Game Boy?
After the fact.
Yeah, I fucking bet you did.
But I'd play it now.
Yeah, I bet you would.
It was good. We shitting on Game Boys today.
Yeah, shit all over it. I had a Game Gear. It had color.
We're shit. When I walked into this room and sat down here and hit that button, I did not think we would be shitting on fucking Game Boys today. I am not ready for this. I am not ready to shit on the fucking Game Boy right now.
Shit on its lack of
Get the
good
fuck
exclusive
out of here.
games.
I
The
refuse.
Game Boy was a great system because it had Pokemon,
I
Link's Awakening,
refuse.
and Tetris.
I am
But
not
you
having
cannot
it.
possibly sit
I am
there
not having
and
it.
tell me the Game Boy had tons of great games. No, it had
Everything
Pokemon,
I just
Tetris,
listed-
and Link's Awakening.
Everything I just listed, I'd be super down to play that.
Most of those are Game Boy Color games.
Even the not ones, even the ones I had to skip because of your stupid ass. Even those ones I would fucking play.
How many of those are Pokemon?
You had to dig up a Japan
Pokemon
exclusive
Gen 1,
game.
Gen 2, and pinball.
Yeah, Pokemon.
That's
one game.
Gen 1, Gen 2, pinball's not the same game.
That's one game.
It's pinball.
It's one game.
It has get mode.
So what?
Okay, it has fucking get mode. Get mode is fun. They call it catch mode here, but it's GET.
I can't believe I walked in here with somebody who would defend the fucking
You
Game
never
Boy
play.
library.
Have you ever even played Pokemon Pinball?
No.
It is a good pinball game.
How's it compare to Metroid? Metroid.
Metroid's better.
Yeah. Okay.
But you know what?
I figured.
And then Pinout's even better.
Yeah.
But a good pinball game.
How's that compare to the Windows Pinball?
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
No, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
In my heart with that.
Galactic Pinball.
And all of that fails in comparison to Black Knight.
Well, that's not fucking fair. That's a real. That's a real fucking machine. Coming here.
What else?
The pinball's
What else do we have?
The pinball Game Boy has a million. Fuck, I can't even talk.
Other than
Apparently, the Super Nintendo was a piece of shit.
no.
No, for the opposite reason of the Game Boy.
Fuck the GameCube. Says best friend.
I say that.
What a ridiculous jump of a conversation.
Just fuck the whole
Super
GameCube.
Nintendo.
I
You know,
do say fuck the
nothing.
GameCube. That
Nothing
thing
happened.
Sucked, man. That thing ransomed away my Resident Evil.
And what's shocking is that over
Holy
the years,
shit.
I've increasingly started to also dislike the game.
Holy
It
shit.
is so limited. Oh my god.
Losing my mind.
I bought a GameCube in 10 games and I was done for it forever.
The whole
And I
fucking world's
loved
gone
my
crazy.
GameCube back in the day.
The whole world's lost its goddamn minds.
It goes Atari, NES, Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Xbox 360.
Willie, just to give you a summary, we're like, there wasn't very many good games on the Game Boy. What? The Super Nintendo sucks now?
That
I'm
is
saying,
absurd.
classic Nintendo is classic fucking Nintendo. And if we're not talking,
The NES is, but the Game Boy
If
is a
we're
bad
not-
NES.
if we're not
with
talking-
less colors.
if we're not talking about the Virtual Boy, you lived in those libraries as much as I did. We grew up living in these libraries.
I never owned a Game Boy, but I would play it at like a friend's Game Boy at school a lot, and I'm like, this is it?
Yeah.
How old were you when you made a "this is it" decision on the Game
Because
Boy?
everyone only had 3 games: Link's Awakening, Tetris, and Mario
But
Land.
for you to say "this is it," that's
Everyone-
as if like the child you knew what video games would be
Woolie,
beyond that.
every- But
that
that's
was
it.
all. But
That's
that was
what
video
That's
games.
the only
Woolie,
game
Unless you
Woolie,
came to
owned.
it super late.
But I'd
You
go
are-
to someone's house who has an NES, and they got like fucking 12
Well,
games.
you are completely fucking goddamn full
At
of
the
shit.
time when that was what you
when
got,
when the
Yeah.
Game Boy came out, I had pirated hundreds of NES games on those fucking super carts at home. I had friends that had Super Nintendos
and you
that
played
had,
your fucking Game Gear. Yeah. How
Yeah.
many hours did you get on those 6 batteries, asshole?
I don't know.
Did you get half a stage into fucking Triple Trouble?
I don't know.
Before it
I
died?
never left the house with it. It was always plugged in because handhelds are stupid.
Sitting next to the fucking wall?
Yeah.
The only thing.
What else did you have on your Game Gear?
I had Shining Force Sword of Aja.
Go on.
I had Sonic 2.
Okay.
And nothing else.
Oh yeah.
You know why?
Was it Sonic 2 or was it Sonic Triple Trouble?
No, it's Sonic 2.
They,
Okay.
they had
I
bad.
don't even know what Sonic
There is
Triple Trouble is.
Willie. There's lots of bad like Genesis to Game Gear ports.
You don't even have 5 fucking games to
No,
name.
because the Game Gear's a piece of shit.
But you-
I'm not
so then why were
I'm
you
not here
quoting it?
saying how good the Game Gear library is. I said it had color.
You just yelled out at the top of your voice. I played the fucking Game Gear instead.
Yeah, no, I said I
What?
played the fucking Game Gear and it had color. At least it had color.
For Sonic, it had blue for Sonic. It had Shining Force
No,
colors.
It had real colors.
Yeah, it had colors. But you had Sonic and Shining Force,
Sword of Haja is better than every game on the Game Boy.
and then you play your one game and you're done.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Oh yeah, the whole library.
Yeah.
the whole fucking library.
Oh, I don't know. There's probably more games for the Game Gear, but I didn't know about them.
Got the. I am not. I'm fucking
The only thing that
not ready to come in and shit on the Game Boy today.
Woolie, did you
Nuh-uh.
have Woolie, did
Getting
you have
hot.
Woolie, did you have
Getting
an original
fucking
Game
hot.
Boy? Woolie, did you have an original Game Boy?
I'm getting fucking hot in here.
Did you
Yes,
have
he
one?
did. You know he did.
Well, I need him to answer me.
I had a fucking Game Boy. What about it?
How many games do you have for it?
By the end, probably like 20 cartridges, maybe.
Okay, how many of them do you remember aside from Link's Awakening, Tetris, and Pokemon
Not
that you owned?
Not counting color. And
No color.
I mean, my
Can't
friend, like
count color.
I fucking gave a bunch of shit to my friends. But there was definitely like Dr. Mario in there and a bunch of other
Dr.
shit.
Mario's good.
There's a bunch. There's a bunch.
How many bunches?
Not a bunch.
Did you have fond
sorry.
memories of?
There were bad games in there too.
Yeah, I fucking
There
bet
were
there were.
definitely bad games in there.
And you know what? all of them were kind of bad in their own way because that fucking hideous monochrome screen.
Okay, the monochrome screen wasn't great.
That was a TI.
It wasn't a great screen. It wasn't a fucking great screen. But then you fucking you add in the light.
Oh,
you
yeah?
add in the flip out.
Yeah, what about the
speakers,
magnifying glass?
And you add the magnifying glass, right? And then you get the worm light in there.
Okay, for real though, the original Game Boy was the fucking path. I now look back on it, was the path to being a frame rate fucking PC monster.
Was it?
Because I remember my friend handing me one because Red and Blue were out, and I played it. I'm like, this looks like a fucking piece of shit. And the monsters go when they yell, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I snubbed my nose at Pokemon Red and Blue, which I should not have done in hindsight, but I did because it was so ugly on that fucking thing. It looked way better on the color. It looked so much better on the color.
The majority of my Game Boy's life had Tetris Attack in it or Pokemon. And it just kind of sat there.
Tetris Attack was even on the original Game Boy. It was Game Boy Color.
Yep.
Tetris Attack was original. It was 100% a normal.
Okay, well, I'm not.
It was a gray cartridge. I owned it.
Okay.
It was on the list.
Calm
It was a normal. It was because the fucking. Anyway, it was one of.
Better hope you're right.
It was one of the game. Okay, well now we have to.
Because
it's totally on the Game Boy.
It was one of the games
It's totally on the Game Boy. I just found.
Thank you. Okay, yes, it was one of the games I owned there as well. And later on, definitely Color era was when I actually had the ability to get more games because I started having money to get those games.
Sure.
Because that's things like back then it was like, okay, what would my parents buy me, and what could I borrow from my friends, and what would I loan my friends, and so you kind of like it was a weird thing where my friends would take my games, and then I would end up with their games, and then we just have a bunch of games for a while.
The most
So
entertaining.
it wasn't really the amount of games you had back then wasn't well.
Okay, what were the amount of games that you loved?
Man,
Well, the shit I fucking went down that list is pretty solid from what I
yeah,
can
that
game
remember.
that only released in Japan.
Yeah, the game that only released in Japan that you only played 3 years ago.
Hey,
Yeah,
X,
great memories, amazing memories.
X was it was way after the fact, but it was fucking good.
Oh man, I
missed
played
it.
this game in 2014, and it transported me back to my childhood on this piece of
I
shit.
couldn't believe I missed it. It sounded amazing.
You missed it because you're not Japanese.
Let me also back up by saying is that the Game Boy is incredibly important and so much better than the alternative, especially early on, like
the fuck did we
1989, was Tiger Electronic
Yeah, absolutely.
handheld
Yep.
games. And it
Yep.
was so much better than that,
Yep.
but it was still so limited. And like, it was only to me, like when I had Nintendo Power, when the Game Boy Color came out, that was when I was like, oh shit, I want one really bad now. And then when they announced the fucking Metal Gear game, I was, oh my God. And I never got one. And I never got a GBA either. The first handheld I ever owned was the DS, and I'll never not want that again.
I got a DS, and
I was
it came,
super happy
and I
with
never
that
had a
decision.
GBA, so the world opened up to me.
Yeah, and
was
then I could
great.
play all the GBA games I wanted on it.
great.
It was awesome.
The DS Lite removing that port was like sad.
Like a lot of
wasn't DS
Nintendo, like a lot of Nintendo things, especially handhelds, their first version's the worst version.
Including the fucking Game Boy.
The Game Boy brought me Kirby. You
That's
can
what it is.
all go die
That's what it
in a
is.
fire.
Woolie likes this little fucking marshmallow
Fall in a
that
fucking
has
well.
ruled his life and
Fall in a
ruined,
fucking well.
and ruined everything.
May
in his-
no
that
one
he's
remember
holding
your
there
name.
As the fucking
The
little,
Game Boy brought
little
me
pink blob sucks
fucking
up
Kirby.
all the goodness in his life.
all right.
Oh, Kirby got brought to me by... He's not even fucking pink!
He was white,
Yeah!
and he didn't even have a full-on copy ability
Gray or something.
in his
Wow,
first
what
game.
an amazing Kirby game!
It was pretty good.
Fuck's sake, I played the fucking first Kirby on the NES!
Yeah.
Before that,
The
did
original,
you?
the original, yes.
Yeah, it's great. Well, what do you mean Kirby got brought to you by the Game Boy?
My life.
No, but that's the first time you encountered Kirby?
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
What a fucking fake Kirby game.
Oh, wow.
Wow! You weren't even there at the beginning.
It just so
Holy
happens
shit.
that the confluence of events where I go through life not having a choice over what games get brought to me when I'm fucking young and in Grenada, and I just get what I
I loved
get.
Kirby enough to steal it when I was a child.
Like literally
you?
no control over what games end up in my life. None whatsoever.
No, I can't.
And this one happens to be the case. Yeah.
Wow.
All the agency I had.
Hell yeah.
All the decision making.
Fucking fake Kirby fan, can't believe it. You take those headphones off.
Go hold your 2 fucking Game Gear games, play them, and be
have that shit.
and be done with them once and fucking peace out.
that
He
shit.
hates that.
You can't even get
doesn't
through
even
those
like
games
it.
without the battery dying. Eat
He
shit.
doesn't like the fucking game.
And you know what?
This is nothing.
Hold on. You're thinking of the fucking Sega Nomad. You're not thinking of the Game Gear. The Sega Nomad used 6 batteries.
Oh, the Nomad was
No,
also
the Game-
terrible,
no,
but
the
the Game
Game Gear
Gear,
used 6
they
batteries,
were
I'm pretty
both
sure.
awful with it. The Nomad was actually smart because it let you plug in controllers.
You know what's the really?
But it was stupid
the
because you
wildest-
still couldn't fucking
The
play it for
wildest
more than an
piece of
hour.
shit about the Nomad was that it came with Comic Zone as its big game, and you couldn't beat Comic Zone in the battery charge. And Comic Zone is a fucking beat 'em up.
Yeah,
Tons
no, it
of-
says Game Gear used 6 batteries.
Wow.
I remember because the fucking kid that I used to live with, he fucking had he had his Game Gear and he was super selfish with it because he was an only child and he didn't know how to loan out shit, and then he would always get fucking salty because his batteries would run out and he'd have to go buy more, and his mom was like, I'm not buying you more fucking batteries. And there would always be an argument over that, and I was like, hey, can I play it? And I'm like, no, because the batteries he has is all he has for it to last.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
You
you're
also
sitting next to the
couldn't
fucking
beat-
wall.
You couldn't beat
Sit next to the
X-Men.
wall.
So I was in a house where we had our Nintendo shit, and he had a Game Gear, and I remember specifically being like, "Hey, can I try out?" He had Triple Trouble. That's why I remember Triple Trouble so well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, can I try out that Sonic game?" And he'd be like, "No, it's mine." And I'm like, "I know it's yours. Can I try it?" And be like, "Nah."
You know what I just
I'd be
realized?
like, "Okay."
You know what I just realized?
Turns out I missed what, Matt? Fucking nothing.
Game
I
Gear.
didn't say anything about the
Game
game.
I know, but you're sitting in the crossfire.
Game
All right,
Gear
fair enough.
started my
hot.
annoyance with handhelds because
Fuck.
I'm like, why would I ever buy a
Sweating up
handheld
in
when
this
I
bitch.
have to just sit in the same place I always do playing video games? Because you had to do that with the Game Gear. You had to.
You also
The
couldn't-
point was car
you couldn't
rides.
beat X-Men 2 Clone Wars on the Nomad either.
Yeah, you could.
Oh, what, that reset button wouldn't
Yeah.
work out?
You had to press the reset button. to
Yeah, it
continue
wouldn't work.
on
What a
again.
genius piece of game design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was about car rides.
Yeah.
Right. It was about our camper trip down.
Game Gear was a piece of shit with car
It was
rides.
about our camper trip down to fucking Disney, and like 3 days on the road almost because we're doing it slow with a car full of fucking people and whatever. And like you have a bunch of comic books,
Yeah.
and then you have a bunch of whatever.
And you have your siblings.
But the fucking Game Boy
Yeah.
is what kept you alive.
You know what? The one thing
It's about secretly in the last pew of the church in the back. There's no where you fucking turn the volume down and you fucking hold it to the side a little bit. Well, and then you try to get in what little you can before one of the elders spots you and calls you out for playing video games in church.
You know what's lucky about the original Game Boy in church? Because the screen is such a magnanimous piece of fucking shit. It doesn't cast any light, so
Yeah.
you don't get caught.
You don't get caught, but it's bright in church anyway.
Whereas the
but
DS Lite was so
100%.
bright, you get caught all the time.
And you know what? I tell this
When you go
story.
to church.
I tell this story from second-hand point of view or third-person point of view because I was too much of a fucking good church boy to even dare bringing my Game Boy in. But I remember other kids would do it,
Yeah.
and they would sneak in and they'd
And
go
they're
do
the
that.
real heroes.
And I was super jealous of them. So, but that's what it was.
super jealous of their courage.
The courage they had.
The courage to play Kirby in the spite of God.
Because I was like, God would be mad if I was fucking playing my Kirby's
Holy
at church.
shit.
That's what it was.
That's why you love the Game Boy, because you were stupid.
There's a million things going on, but the point
what
is,
a wonderful deity.
the point is,
I'm gonna be mad you play your Kirby
like,
on this particular
Kirby's
day.
some satanic shit.
Yeah.
the only thing better than fucking games on the go is games at home.
Yeah.
But then you still got games on the go as a really solid time waster. That was good shit.
For like the 4 games.
That was good
yeah.
shit.
And then you beat all of them. And then you just spent all your time fucking farming rare candies with Masigno until he crashed your game.
We would play D&D, and then we'd play Pokemon,
Isn't that satanic though?
and then we'd fucking... It was.
So, Woolie,
It was at school at lunchtime,
Okay,
though.
sorry.
so
I
you know
I
what
thought
I'm
you meant
hearing?
at home.
It was totally satanic.
You know what I'm hearing from you?
At camp, though, parents weren't there.
Yeah, that's true. It's
So as long as I didn't tell them...
international waters, basically.
As long as I didn't tell them about it, then it was fine.
Well, you know what
Yeah.
I'm hearing with you, and it's honestly kind of sweet. You're like, the Game Boy is good because I had good memories of it when I was a child.
Yeah.
Not because of its library or of its quality, but because when I was a baby, it made me very happy.
As opposed to doing nothing, playing on a Game Boy is a good time.
Yeah, but when you're talking about the Game Boy,
The moment-
millions of classics.
The moment we go forward
Look at these
one
classics.
generation, you get to compare that to I can play this or I can play a Game Boy. But back when the Game Boy was around, at least for me, it was you can play the Game Boy or you can play nothing.
I want to make it really clear that I am shitting on the Game Boy original only, not even the Game Boy Color. Not even. Because I agree with you. There's a bunch of bona fide classics on the Game Boy Color.
And good versions of existing games, too. And I had a bunch of Tiger Electronic things to make myself feel better that I could afford a real handheld.
Man, I haven't
I
felt
had
it.
Royal Rumble and I had Simpsons.
I have
one.
not felt a good Nintendo versus Sega console war.
This isn't even
School-
one, though.
No,
Because the Sega fan
right,
over here is
right.
readily admitting that the Game Gear's a piece of shit.
like I haven't felt that in a minute, and like the fact that the conversation ender always used to be fuck you, you can't play Street Fighter without a select button.
No!
It was done. Everyone just walks away because it was nuclear. There was no comeback from that.
Well, the comeback was to get a 6-button controller when the other version.
Yeah,
of the
which
game
was
came
a
out.
genuine improvement actually, because like that layout was better than the.
Yeah, and
It is,
I
it
remember being like, oh man, Comic Zone looks kind of cool. I wish I could.
Comic Zone's radical.
And then I
It's super
remember,
hard,
and then
though.
I remember Vector Man. I'd be like, oh, Vector Man looks kind of
Oh,
cool.
I remember being blown away by Vector Man. Then I played Vector Man.
It's not good. I don't like it.
It's not good.
You should play X-Men 2 Clone Wars instead, because that game's
No, I know.
fucking awesome.
I played it not too long ago.
It has a really grimy soundtrack, because it has to.
because music can't sound good unless the fucking genius that's composing understands
Is a
all the
genius.
fart noises
I
that the
think-
Genesis can make.
Yeah, I think X-Men 2 does a good use of it just sounds grimy and filthy. It almost sounds ahead of its time.
Yeah, it sounds better than the first X-Men game. The first X-Men one doesn't
it's
sound
bad.
as
like
good.
there are some great sound OSTs that you can go back to and listen to on the Genesis.
Rocket Knight Adventures is my number one.
But that's because a fucking maestro learned how to work with the sound of farts.
Yeah, it's like I found a bunch of fucking broken down pieces of shit in this alley, but I can make good music.
That's
with
it.
Hell yeah, I can. I can make this dumpster symphony.
Do we have anything that could possibly follow up this tirade?
No, I don't think so.